All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to the Red Dot Invitational. We are finally about to jump into our second semifinal of the evening here, which is going to be between XTSM/Team QuestionMark and Titan. My name is Blue. I'll be your host, spectator, and streamer for this evening. And joining me, of course, as always, is SmithZz. How you doing tonight, man?
Doing good. That hour break was definitely welcome. Got myself some grub. Feeling a lot better. I know you didn't sleep too much last night, so I guess the more apt question is, how are you doing, Blue?
2 hours of sleep, dude. It's been the struggle recently, but I took a shower, I shaved during the break, so I'm feeling good now. Nice and refreshed. I have a very well caffeinated beverage, and I'm ready to rock and roll for this match, which should be getting started in like 10 seconds.
Yes, right back into the action then. And of course, for those of you diehard CS fans out there, there will be another best of 3 after this. This is the second semi-finals. We have the grand finale to come up as well. The winner of this game will be heading off and facing off against... Wait, Blue, who did we cast before? My mind's already gone.
EnVy, we've done.
EnVy, of course it is.
Also,
they're against Dignitas.
Quite a big prize pool. $50,000 up for grabs in the grand finals. I don't exactly know how it splits between like first, second, and maybe third place, but yeah, $50,000, as much as a minor. So you'll definitely want to stick around for that, but we are going into the knife round now. This is the first map here is going to be on Overpass. Our second map is going to be on Train. And then for a third and final map, we are going to be going to Dust 2 if it is required to play the one. If I remember correctly, I think that this is the pick from XTSM, and the next map over on Train is Titan's pick.
That's correct, yeah. And I feel that QuestionMark XTSM coming into this game, definitely the firm favourites for me at least. I think a lot of people out there would agree. And Overpass is a map that they're actually pretty damn strong on. So I could see this being a difficult one for Titan. And then when you go through to Train, XTSM are not bad at Train either. So I don't, when we were casting Dignitas EnVy before, I was saying if Dignitas can win Train, they've got a chance. I can't really see Titan picking up either of these maps, if I'm honest, Blue.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be much more... I think it's going to be a bigger test for Titan, especially because Titan, for the most part, I mean, you look at their results in most of their online matches and the lands that they have been to, the land matches that they've been to, and it's been fairly lackluster ever since they got this new roster back in the summer. We just haven't seen anything super strong. I mean, even picking up Scream, to be completely honest, we really haven't seen a big improvement since he's been added to the roster, so... More than likely, again, 9 times out of 10, I'll see TQM moving into the next match, but who knows? We'll have to wait and see. As there's been some slumps, to say the least, for Team QuestionMark in the past.
There definitely has. They can be hit or miss, especially online. I find online they often will lose against teams that honestly they should be beating quite handedly. But either way, let's not count Titan out just yet. We are live into the first round here, and SmithZz is going to break the deadlock with that beautiful one tap onto cajunb. dupreeh's next in the firing line. Existence just nips on down there and catches him in the side. So a great start for Titan. Although the bomb and the rest of XTSM pushing through monster side right now.
And now, moving into that site, it's going to be mainly Scream having to hold that off back over there from the barrels, but he actually falls a little bit further back in a pit, and it'll be RpK sitting behind the cubby area, trying to hold it back a little bit more. Over TQM, press their way up, they get into the site, get the bomb down, and a couple more kills coming out for these guys as well, but it's being responded to very nicely by Titan. They rounded back around immediately with 3 more frags of their own, and they are going to be able to clean things up nicely and take the pistol round here on map number 1.
Well, I've got to say, though, TQM will be fairly happy with getting that bomb down, considering they lost the first 2 players in Connector, so it's not a terrible end to the round. Obviously, they're hoping to win it, but that puts them in a position now they can make a decision. They have the choice of saving up this round, getting AK-47s in the next one with grenades, so it'll be interesting to see what happens here. We do have a pause. Also, apologies, we had a bit of a delay at the start. There were a couple of technical issues.
I mean, well, people can see the chat, so...
Oh, right, that's why.
So, someone leaked the IP again, I think.
Next level banter.
I don't even know how I got out this time. Last time, one of the players just typed in the chat. I didn't see it this time. So...
If you're going to troll and join a server, at least spell famous right, mate. It's O before you.
Wait.
I'm
How do I spell it? I'm famous than pro players.
It's like top quality English right there. If you're going to troll, at least get it right. Come on.
That's incredible. And then we just have the whole spread of other people joining the server. I wish I could see them all, the spectators, but unfortunately we can't. And also, obviously, probably, honestly, I don't even know if we're going to unpause this, because more likely now that the IP's out, there could be other problems that come from that as well if the game starts to go one direction or the other. So I imagine we might have to change the server again, but that will be a decision for the admins to make. I don't know if it was like, that had to be the actual server though, because they're in the actual match typing, so that could lead to problems in like 3 or 4 rounds from now.
Why are people typing the password in chat? Why you do this?
I don't know. All right, well, it looks like they're not going to change the server for now, just changing the password, I assume. So heading into the next round now.
I've got to get used to calling Devi now.
How do you pronounce this? Is it Devi or Deve? Because I know Danish names are weird as hell.
Well, whatever we say, we'll probably get flamed anyway. I'll go with Devi.
Yeah.
Feels more comfortable to me personally, but it could be Deve for sure as well. It's a hard one.
Someone will tell us. All right, so starting it off here, looks like Titan having pretty good control of this. SmithZz picking them off left and right as they try to press their way up through the short A path to get up onto that site. And now they've been boxed in too. In comes shox. Roundhousing over there on his Ipix, and then Scream will finish off the final player, Devi or Deve, to take the second round. I think it's Devi. That sounds the best in my ears.
Yeah, it rolls off the tongue more than Deve does. That's
Deve
for sure.
sounds like too fancy.
Almost sounds French to me in a way.
You just sound really pretentious when you say Deve.
Yeah, kind of. I'm so Deve. I don't know why I did that accent. Anyway, they have gone for the AK-47s as expected after that first round plant, which is why the second round really did just breeze by. SmithZz goes for the early peak on cajunb, comes out second best. And 3 MP9s in play in this round against full Kevlar up TQM. I mean, that is brutal. MP9 is like a pea shooter against Kevlar, so it's not looking good for Titan here in the early stage of their CT half.
So as we take a look now at Titan pressing their way out a little bit here. They're going to be able to find 1 kill, but RpK picking up 1 over on a Zipix as well. Question mark here on the third round for us, and actually making a decent amount of progress. The one thing that you can note here from Titan immediately is just how mobile they are on that CT side. Not afraid at all to take these like huge risks going all around the map to try and look for some of these kills. It's not leading to the best results, but it is showing confidence at the very least that they are choosing to do something like this. And you can tell it's fractured TQM. They're all over the map right now. They do actually have them split up, and the bomb is currently detached from a possible site entry point. RpK has control of this one. The problem, of course, is that positioning right there from dupreeh. And Existence, unfortunately, is going to get shut down from there. So it leaves it just on RpK now, but he still does have a wedge driven between himself and the bomb. Whether he realizes this or not is another thing, but it's delaying the end of this round at the very least. And if he can hold this ground, he may just yet be able to clutch it out. But we'll find this out in a minute. Spots 1. They know where he is now. So he's going to get caught by dupreeh, and that shuts down the round. First one going onto the board here for TQM.
Yep, turns out it was just delaying the inevitable there, RpK. Titan do have the funds to buy back up again, including an AWP that was going to get picked up and dropped across from RpK to SmithZz. So it's definitely a respectable buy here for Titan, right off the bat. But of course, TQM come right back into this again with AKs, including 3 Molotovs. So plenty of utility to execute onto sites with. I was curious if we're going to see any aggressive pushes, and we are. Again, this time it's Existence that goes into connector. It's typically been SmithZz who's there, but of course, as he has the AWP, it does leave him a tiny bit vulnerable, so it's actually taking more of a passive place in bathrooms right now. But TQM also very passive, so looks like we are going to have this flirtatious CS in round 4.
Moving up against it now, members of TQM once again spreading themselves all over the map. cajunb spotting 1 as he gets himself into a little bit of a mini-duel with Existence. However, neither player firing any shots. They see each other, they get the intel, and Existence is going to fall back away from connector now. Most of Titan, in fact, moving into the site. Moving lots of their players back as we can see TQM a big shift in their momentum. Starting to push some players into the connector area. Still not committing to either site, but it is looking heavily towards the B site currently, depending on how things go with Titan now. If they make this push and it fails, then they're definitely going to commit to this, but if it goes the other direction, they're going to have no choice but to go to A, and that's a great double team play there. The Rose Scream and RpK. Apologies.
Yeah, that's a massive passage of play for Titan. And you can see it funnels TQM over onto the B side. It's going to be cajunb who goes in first, gets the frag onto short. It wasn't clean. He's down to 34, but still, this now maybe allows them to force their way in. Meanwhile, it's going to be Scream who's going to open up the first and second frag. Bomb dropped in Monster, and it's not going to matter anyway as shox cleans things up. Good hold from Titan, and that's going to do the world of good to their economy as well. Whereas for TQM, it's likely going to be upgraded pistols and nothing else.
And there's Titan striking right back now, completely imbalancing TQM. Looking at the money right now, though, probably only going to see like one save, as mostly players are just going for a full save now, not investing on anything. It should, in theory, lead them with enough to, at the very least, get a semi-competent rifle buy going into the next round, but that all depends on how they want to play this T-sided economy here. As I mentioned before, Titan is being fairly unpredictable at this point, and that can make decisions like that just a little bit harder to make. Now they're going away from spreading out now. They're just going to keep all these players together, and they're taking it fairly slow, too, making sure they check all the angles and whatnot. But so far, it's just, again, Titan shutting it down left and right. Smith's picking up one with the op. Existence found one at long range. He's going to get a second one, too. RpK killing the players that tried to push into the B site. Just an absolute shutdown from Titan. And now they lead pretty heavily here, 4-1, as we do see those gun investments coming in from TQM once more.
Now, I was curious to see if RpK would drop the MP9 in favor of the M4 instead, but it looks like he is going to stick with that. The last time he was using this, I think this is back to round 2 or 3, he did get the frag, but it was the only player on TQM who didn't have Kevlar on his head as well. So now they're all fully Kevlar'd up, and that MP9 can end up hurting them. At close range, though, MP9 is still pretty decent if you land the headshot, so he is going to be using it to his advantages in short with SmithZz. Interesting enough, SmithZz is there with an AWP, so he's looking into connector, hoping that one of those T's peeks out and then get that free shot off. But again, TQM, very slow, very steady, just waiting for a mistake from Titan.
Moving up towards it now. Again, no one from Titan actually playing towards Park at all this time, so most of their aggressive assets have been pushed back over here towards water, and they're not going to be able to find anything here whatsoever. TQM realizes this, and they are going to start to spread their players out a little bit here too, try to get some long action, which for the most part has been ignored for most of these rounds so far up to this point. So getting ready to move in towards it now. That B lurker is all moved up to group with these players too, but Existence got a little bit impatient. Look at where he's positioned now, just outside of bathrooms on short A. Going for the peek. It's a great flash, but it doesn't connect on his Zipniks. And thankfully, the teammate that did get flashed was able to retreat into a safe area. So they are going to lose him early in the round, but they get some nice intel as to where this play may be coming from. Now the smokes filter in, though, and this is where RpK's got to play things big. He's got that SMG up close, waiting for it, lining up one, sees the second right next to it, and he grabs that one. Makes the mistake, though, as cajunb and karrigan trade it right back with SmithZz and cajunb. Trading out 2 more, leaves it into a 2 versus 1. Scream, the last one alive at a 1 versus 2 now. He's going to slowly creep his way up towards the bank.
Now, the human headshot machine needs to live up to his name right now. Decent positions from TQM, separated, but both able to just quickly peek onto that site. Scream is looking, he's on the prowl, he has a defuse kit, but no grenades to smoke off on bathrooms, who's going in for the frag, drops cajunb. Time is ticking down ever so quickly, though. karrigan's going to go for the peek as well. Scream is going to go back onto the site again. karrigan's looking for it. Scream's holding on right now. karrigan's missed a bunch of shots. That was so close to being defused. Oh my goodness, that would have been such a train wreck for karrigan if he didn't manage to land that frag, but just about gives TQM their second round.
That's such a hard position, too, for Scream to end up winning out, just because of the fact that, again, he basically has to push into TQ if he wants to do it. And the time it takes to get that close, take your opponent down, and then round back over and defuse the bomb, you have to keep in mind he wasted all this time, too, trying to take down that player towards semi. So there's no way he's going to be able to accomplish that. He just says, screw it, I'm going to stick the bomb and see what happens. He almost gets it, but thankfully we do see TQM able to take it down, and they're going to be able to round up their second round on the board because of this play. And starting off this one, Titan get themselves right back onto the board. SmithZz with his own amount of aggressive play moves back out and shuts down cajunb very early on here in the 7th round.
Early pick is massive. cajunb 6 foot under, top fragging right now for TQM as well. But again, we're seeing this split push attack from TQM, opting for B more often than not. Got the bomb in the hands of karrigan. Only 2 smokes to play with. It's not a great deal of utility to throw in the faces of Titan. And this may be one of the reasons why they're opting for that B play as well. Just going to go all guns blazing, see if they can get the frags off. Here comes the first smoke, thrown over from karrigan. And the push will be surely coming in afterwards. Especially when you only have 2 smokes as well. You can't really fake, because then you're pretty much going off raw entry potential onto the other side. So he's going to be smoking while the rest of his team is poised to just rush straight in. RpK was there, but he actually backs away. They may even think this is an A play. This could be brutal, but the first frag in this confrontation goes to Scream. He's going to look for more as well. dupreeh is up to the task. Lands the headshot on him. Devi at the back of the site is doing work and does somehow pull himself back with frag. He's on 4 HP. The bomb has been planted.
So shox is going to get a nice rotation there. Takes out one of them. Thankfully responded to by dupreeh. Devi fighting another pickup here too. Now Existence moving in. And almost had the element of surprise there too, because he might have just been able to defuse that bomb. But are they going to go? Okay. Are they gonna... What was that? Did they not hear the defuse?
Oh my god. I think they assumed that it was just a fake to try and draw players out. The thing is, if the two players that tagged up the remaining TQM members called that they were both low, sticking the sight there actually makes sense. Because they may be way too scared to peek and knowing that just one bullet will end both of their lives. So I actually really like that play, but there's no doubting that TQM are going to be face planting right now after that. And like, oh god, what just happened? That's nearly 2 rounds that they lost to a defuse now.
So that's definitely going to put them behind a little bit here. There's absolutely no reason why he should have been able to defuse that. They had the perfect positioning and everything. They even knew exactly where he was that entire time, but just committed to it, unfortunately. And now we can see TQM back down here onto another broken buy. Most players can't even get utility for the most part here. karrigan has had to downgrade to a Tech 9 in order to afford his own. Devi, he's only got a smoke to work with. The rest of these guys, thankfully, have a decent amount, but already SmithZz, again, with that nice play, he's picking up 1, and here's shox with a crate flank. Nobody's watching long A at all, so shox, he already gets full control of party, getting himself into a bit of a harder duel with Devi over there, so he is going to end up falling back just to keep himself alive. That was the problem in that one round that we almost saw Scream clutch out, is that unfortunately they had lost a player earlier on in the round, so it left it into a 1 versus 2 instead of a 2 versus 2, so this time they're going to play a little bit more passively and fall back.
Yeah, it's a very intelligent play. He was in a very advanced position, decided to take the frag, and then just falls back. So they keep the 2-player lead. Again, though, TQM have done this quite a few times, and I feel like Titan have called this. They've got 3 players on B. Every time they've lost players on A, they instantly go over to that B site instead. So shox now going for a pick. He's going to catch 2 players with their pants down, land the first frag. Honestly, a 1-for-1 trade there may just be enough for Titan, especially as the bomb's been dropped and Scream comes in with 2 headshots. Very nicely played by Titan. Showing up to this game so far, they've been impressive. Scream, 9 and 4.
I love when Scream is just on point with his headshots. It just looks so crazy. You can just like laser lock onto those heads. So he's going to be able to clean things up nice and easy there at the end of the 8th round. And now this completely breaks TQM. We were just talking about they were on a force buy. Now they've got virtually nothing. So expect this to be another quick cleanup, as we really haven't seen anything super impressive on their eco so far in this match from TQM. They've had the money to go for buys for the most part here, but unfortunately, as it already starts off here, they lose control of the area just outside of Monster. They are going to try to get control of Short A, but from there, unfortunately, they still have to get themselves onto the site, and they're working against both an op and a fairly competent rifle player here if they try to just go directly at it.
Yeah, it's hard to foresee a place where TQM actually get a frag, let alone a round here. The way Titan have been playing, the positions right now, everything looks absolutely on point. karrigan's going to come out, the bomb is dropped in no man's land. And there we go. This should just be a straight-up clean sweep for Titan. And TQM will be back onto AKs. As it has just turned to 7-2. So this is already looking great for Titan. As you said, though, TQM, I mean, I don't know if it's a case they haven't shown up yet, but there's been nothing really of merit, to be honest. There's a couple of decent performances, but by and large, Titan have been bossing this map.
Not just this two, but 2 of the players that you normally expect to be like leading the way for TQM in terms of fragging power are sitting at the bottom right now, which is Devi/Device, along with Zipnix, who really stepped up recently, especially at the most recent LAN these guys were at, which was the SLEC Pro League LAN. He was a very, very key component as to why his team ended up getting so far in that event. And unfortunately, both him and Devi seem to be not fairly present, I guess. It's a pretty bad word to use, but not really present so far in this match.
I guess the good news for TQM fans out there is it's still early days in this best of 3, so there's still a lot of time for them to dust off the cobwebs and, you know, to start to come back into form in this game. Even in this map, it's still quite early days. TQM could easily pick up 5 or 6 rounds from this point, and that may very well be enough. That being said, speaking of which, dupreeh comes in, lands a nice headshot onto shox. He's been playing pretty well so far, and that is definitely a big body blow for Titan. They have to spread themselves 2-2, 2-1A, 2B. But that being said, SmithZz is looking to actually rotate now into upper with the AWP. And his position's pretty decent because it allows you quick rotation between the 2 sites, but he's opting for the A play instead. So there's going to be 3 players strong, one of which has pushed up aggressively. Existence is there. He's picked up the first frag, but he does get traded out, and now that leaves Scream really in the lurch. He needed Existence to stay alive to make sure he didn't get pushed from his left-hand side. And as soon as he falls down, TQM have every opportunity now to pick up this round. SmithZz is close on the truck, and it's just been shot through smoke from cajunb, who goes for the pre-fire, assuming that someone could be there. He was correct. You know, RpK is going to 1v3 clutch to pull out, and he can't do it. What a frag from cajunb, and TQM bounce right back.
Nicely done by cajunb there, and again, TQM bouncing right back into this one. I think again, you made a very good point there. It's still very early on in this match, so a bit of a rough start here for TQM, but still, it's T-side as par the course as this map normally goes. You normally don't expect the T's to have a very large lead anyway coming off of the first half. They're still on a decent course if they continue something along these lines to end like 10-5 or 9-6, which is not going to be in a bad position at all. Still very easy to come back from that in the second half once you get onto the CT side, assuming, of course, you don't have any problems with your CT side, which was a bit of an issue, at least for Dignitas on that previous set. So just keep that in mind.
Absolutely, yeah. And some of these rounds, to be honest, although Titan have won them, could have gone the way of TQM. In particular, that defuse, I guess, could we even say a ninja defuse, seeing as the distance just stuck on it? Like, the balls and that guy, I'm surprised he could even get to the site. They must weigh that much. But either way, SmithZz is just there to pick up 2 frags. No problems. And just like that, TQM's momentum has been shattered. And if Titan can keep all their players alive, the banker is going to be very happy. The accountant is definitely smiling right now for Titan. That's going to be fantastic news for them. TQM now have no economy to speak of. And Titan right back in the driver's seat.
One thing I like about what Titan's doing, is more specifically down at the B site, this isn't happening as much when they push like long and whatnot, but they're doing this thing. And I saw like a Brazilian team, which is going to be playing at the minor this weekend, do this quite a bit too, is they're using like a buddy system when they decide to get aggressive on the CT side. They're always pushing with 2. And when they do it, they always make sure that they keep themselves in a position to where if one of their teammates gets taken down, then the other is either like directly next to him or he's in another position that could allow him to get a trade. So it's never like super risky to a certain degree. And I like that kind of play styles. It does have a nice amount of safety to it. I say this more on the T side with that Brazilian team that I was talking about, but can it be applied on the CT side as we're seeing here with Titan now too? Unfortunately, in this round, it seems dupreeh is going to start things off for TQM as he picks up a nice Juan Dig to shut down Scream right at the beginning as he gets a little bit overconfident by picking up his monster.
René landed a second Juan Dig as well onto the A side. I think it was SmithZz who was stood there. Just about a pixel off, landing right between his eyes. So a decent start for TQM, but again, the longer this round goes on, the more utility starts to come in for Titan. And those weapons, if you just hold in passive positions at the back of the site, exactly what SmithZz doing right now, you should be able to pick off players. The bomb's been dropped as well, so he's going to pick up a second frag. The bomb is still there in short. He will call that to the rest of his team. That alleviates some pressure off B. And RpK is pretty much there by his lonesome, so he's just watching in case the flank comes in to fruition. And TQM, again, have no real hopes of picking up this round, barring a miraculous display with the Deagle in the hands of maybe dupreeh. Zipmix did get himself an AK, but it's going to do nothing for him this round. And the same for dupreeh. He's been silenced as well.
cajunb gets a nice angle and a good attempt to take down SmithZz, but unfortunately going to miss those shots. So SmithZz is given the opportunity to respond. He's going to pick up a 4K this time around for himself. Titan continue on their lead in TQM. They get another buy round going, but it's what they do with it that we need to see here. Very little amount of aggressive success so far coming out from TQM just because of how Titan has been playing this very well on this map overall. And unfortunately it's been stopping TQM from doing anything just because of the fact that Titan are almost always able to pick up like 1 to 2 kills at the beginning, and then it just causes TQM to play so passively for the rest of it. And you have another example of it right there. SmithZz pushing down into connector. He's able to take down cajunb. dupreeh does find a response this after he takes down Scream, and a second one too. He's going to be able to find RpK. So it's a good response to it, but he himself is brought down to 29 HP, so he's going to have to be careful for the rest of this round.
I feel like Titan almost their own worst enemies there. They're both pushing through, getting fragged. SmithZz was in connector. As soon as they both fall, it means that he can no longer keep all of his attention on connector side. He then has to worry about water as well, and that's what ultimately cost him his life. So Titan, they're getting a lot of the opening picks, as you said, but the problem is that sometimes they're just going maybe a bit too aggressive, and they're getting caught out as a result. And TQM will punish you for that. Now Existence and shox have it all to do. They are split up. shox by himself on B, Existence still on A. He has spotted a player. Down to 7 goes Zipnix. That's a beautiful hold so far from shox, and he's still on 100% of his HP, so maybe we are going to see a huge play from him on barrels, or maybe not, as his head gets taken clean off his shoulders, and now Existence trying to retake the site. He does have a defuse kit, but nothing else really.
So Existence sitting back now. Not a whole lot that he's going to be able to do. Quick to line up some more shots. Debbie does go for the peek, and he's going to be successful with it, so that shuts him down, and again, it's another round being picked up here by the guys on TQM as we inch closer and closer to the end of this half. Good thing for Titan, they still have enough money to go for a fairly competent buy here. He is going to get dropped, Scream specifically, he's going to end up getting dropped a rifle, but the rest of these guys are still going to be able to afford their full investments, and for the most part, they still have good amounts of utility rolling into this one as well, so not really knocked out of this one just yet. However, if TQM can repeat this here, Titan are probably going to be on a full save for the final round, just by the nature they won't have any money to do anything else, and that will probably lead us into a 9-6 half, as we were expecting before.
This round, Titan opting for 2 in long. Haven't really seen this too often from them so far. One of which is SmithZz. shoxy pushing down with the M4. There is a lack of utility, which is maybe the reason we're seeing this happen. They need to just go out and scout and try and get frags. The problem is that Devi's there in playground, and he does connect the headshot. So the only information he's got is one person playground. Really tells them nothing overall, but SmithZz is there to answer straight back. As you can see, the bomb is still dropped towards the T spawn, so TQM aren't going to be able to get that bomb planted for a little while yet, but it appears that they are going to be congregating around this B side. All 4 players are looking to maybe push in. They do have one in connector, though, so they can get this pick onto Existence. If he gets a bit too aggressive, that may change their mind. There's still plenty of time to play with.
Now pressing forward here, too. Existence is going to realize there's nothing here, but the timing that he's going to find this out is exactly when they're pushing in. Screams out in the open. He's shut down by Xyp9x. Xyp9x picking up a second one there, too. Assisted by dupreeh as he comes in through construction. SmithZz, I think he may have disconnected because he was kind of just standing there. And now Existence, no choice left. He's going to have to fall back and save, unfortunately.
I originally thought that maybe the frag would come in from Existence, but he took a long time to even get close to the connector, so it felt like maybe they were a bit too slow on the rotation there, Titan. But still, beautiful flashbangs. You saw that the 2 frags that they got on Monster, I think it was RpK, the second player to die, they were fully flashed, they couldn't see a thing, so it's just great teamwork there from TQM. And, well, it looks like we could be 1 round shy of the predicted 9-6 half time here. And Existence just trying to save, as he said, with the AK-47.
Bit unfortunate that I think SmithZz ends up dropping from the match there. With the position he had, he probably could have done some damage, but like I said, he was kind of just sitting there not moving, so I don't know when he started having his choke or whatever, but it looked like it happened just as that take was starting. So unfortunately, he wasn't able to help out with the off at all, and he kind of just got wrecked as he was AFK. So looks like he's back now, though. And we are going to get started with the final round here, but as we were talking about before, Titan pretty much just forcing up whatever they can. Leaves them with 2 rifles because Existence is able to pick up that AK. RpK is able to force up with another FAMAS, but for the rest of these guys, they just force up with pistols. Some decent utility, but they're going to have to come out big with these if they want to try and stop TQM from picking up that 6th round.
Absolutely. Massively disadvantage when it comes to weaponry. But Scream's going to go down. He does get the dink onto Devi, but that's all he's going to get. They haven't checked the barrels just yet, so Toxic could be an issue. Finally gets traded out. shox comes in. He's going to land a 1 tap, but then instantly retaliated back onto an Existence, the last player to come in, and he gets mowed down in midair from karrigan. So TQM do pick up the 6 rounds. SmithZz was 16 for 7. Very impressive stats for him, and I don't think it's any disrespect to say that a lot of people wouldn't necessarily put him in the top 5 AWPers in the world. So for him to be dropping 16, like that's pretty solid for Titan. They're going to hope he's going to be able to continue that form over on the T side.
And we'll go directly into the second half, guys. The members of TQM now jumping onto the CT side. Titan on the T side. So let's see what they're going to be able to work with here now. As we see the investments coming in, nothing out of the ordinary for the most part here. And for Titan, taking a little bit more of a different path than TQM did. Everybody just working together here, pushing towards Fountain. But thankfully, there's a good amount of aggression in itself coming out from TQM. They push out, they spot this coming, so they are going to be able to move into the way of this one ahead of time and try to counter these guys out. But they're not going to commit themselves away from the B site just as of yet. As before they moved away, they did not see if anything went down in a connector or whatnot. So there's still a bit of uncertainty in that regard.
Yeah, connector will, I feel, be one of the pivotal points of this map as we progress through into the buy rounds. I feel like TQM are going to want a lot of control over connector against Titan. They're hearing the pistol around. cajunb is the player that's being the most aggressive. He's pushed all the way up through B on to shox and lands that headshot. So that's pretty big for him. It's going to maybe force Titan's hand now to just force straight onto the site itself. His Existence trying his best to tap across with that Glock, but it's karrigan who lands the frag here. Goes for the reload. He needs his teammates to step up big. They don't. SmithZz is there to deliver the fatal blow onto dupreeh. And Existence as well, keeping this round interesting. TQM do have the player advantage though, and both of Titan are tagged, make it just Existence. He's been picked off from cajunb, and TQM pick up the second pistol, which was massive for them to bring us back to even.
And now we'll see if Titan decide to force it up or not. Looks like they're investing into some of the upgraded pistols here. Armor coming up behind it too, so they don't want to take this lightly. They want to try to get a good response to it immediately. See if they can strike right back to keep their lead. But for TQM, they're taking the path for the most part here of the guns. They're not really looking for a money investment. dupreeh does go for the P90, so it's going to be 3 greater weapons, and then you got 2 more SMGs coming into the mix there with the P90 acting. as the middle ground there to probably play inside of connector and be a more consistent gun. But for the rest of these guys on Titan, we do see the scout being invested here by SmithZz too. So might be able to pick some stuff up with that. But TQM, unfortunately, not really giving them a whole lot of room to breathe. Devi's pushed himself up over here towards Party and already doing some good damage, but SmithZz striking right back is able to shut him out before he can do anything else to Scream or the rest of the members of Titan.
Well, that's pretty devastating, actually, to TQM to lose a player like that. Especially in the position where he ended up dying. They could go and pick that weapon up eventually once they've cleared all the other areas. It could very well be dupreeh who's the man on point to try and fend off this push. Oh my goodness, Existence lands the one tap, and now suddenly RpK is just going to wrap himself round the corner, takes down dupreeh, and this has gone horribly wrong for TQM. They've only got 2 SMGs left, one of which is going to be situated on A in the hands of Zipnex, but man, oh man, Titan just bouncing out of this round with a vengeance. That grenade does connect onto Zipex's head. He's down to 57. And now it's all on cajunb to go huge with the MP7. First frag comes down and a second as well. He's looking for a third, has to reload, but he doesn't get pushed because he still did enough damage. This round's still up in the air. Either team could pick this one up.
He's falling back into the site now to keep himself safe, and there's no one else to pressure him, so he's going to be good in there. We do see Scream moving into the A site, though, and up on top of it, Zipnex. Neither of them have noticed each other as of yet, despite Scream being so close. He's going to come out now, and there's going to be shox picking up one over on a cajunb. That takes him down, and now it's just Zipnex. He's going to move down towards the B site, but keep in mind, as we were mentioning before, I don't think he ever even really noticed Scream, and now he's just going to waltz right out, pick up the headshot to close things, and Titan respond right back to keep their lead as strong as it was at the beginning of this half.
I'm so surprised that TQM are losing rounds like that. They're typically the team that you'd expect to just take them out with ease. Instead, they break Titan with the pistol and then instantly get wrecked afterwards, which is almost the worst case scenario for CTs that are chasing down the deficit. So you can see what that means for their economy. Just 2 Deagles, 2 P250s stand between them and Titan's potential 11th round, and a very aggressive push through connector. Titan playing this slow, just bunching together. That's a smart play here. The strength in numbers, especially when you have the weapons to back it up. And through B Monster, it appears we are going to be trekking with Titan. This is where the Deagle of cajunb could really come up big. He's missed the first shot, looking for the second. He finally gets the man of Scream, and he's still alive in a pretty good position as well. dupreeh now pushing through the smoke on short. He's not going to be seen until it's too late. He lands himself the headshot, and suddenly the tables are turned again. Titan are against the ropes. 2 players very low for TQM, but Titan are losing health themselves. RpK and SmithZz are low. RpK's been picked off. It's a 4-on-2.
The drop shot coming in there too from dupreeh. Such a nice one to line up. SmithZz, though, nicely done. Gets the clothesline on a Devi. Now they're starting to round this one back into their favor. No gun upgrades found for anybody on TQM. dupreeh almost does it too as he manages to finish off Existence, but that round was way closer than it ever should have been.
Oh, TQM will be... They will be so livid with themselves after that because they had such a good chance to clutch it. It was a 4v2. The Titan again just step up, and TQM have gone for that force, which means glass cannon up, 2 FAMASes, a scout. This is as bare bones you could ask for. And TQM, if they lose this, you're looking at Titan potentially getting to 13-7. So this is a huge round here, Blue, for both teams. And it's going to be the MAC-10, actually, from long range, taking down cajunb. There's the importance of Kevlar, ladies and gents. He just got destroyed.
And now shox looking to line up a little bit more with it, too, as he does manage to get a free peek there through construction. Nobody trying to hold that back, but he's actually going to take it fairly passively as he moves away from it now to watch out, possibly working himself up towards short A, but he moves against it now as his teammates aren't able to pick up another kill. That's going to be SmithZz finding one closer to the A site itself, and dupreeh here, too. Not sure if SmithZz spotted it, but it's going to allow dupreeh to come in here, pick up 1 kill onto Scream. Zipnex found one onto Existence too, and dupreeh pick up a second one on the SmithZz. So suddenly again the round is turned back on its heels, and this is going to be a 3-on-2 advantage for the guys on TQM.
We've seen so many of these kind of rounds though slip out of TQM's hands. Is this going to be another one? dupreeh has been spotted by RpK, who lands the 1-tap into the face of dupreeh. He's going to get that bomb as well, although the karrigan's watching it long range from Bank, just about manages to sneak his way, pick that bomb up. And now all of the power play from TQM goes back into the hands of Titan. It's going to be Zipex with the FAMAS on the site by himself, although karrigan's now coming in as well. So they seem to have called this, and actually they've switched around. They put the AWPer onto B and opting for the FAMAS onto A, and karrigan's missed that first shot. That could be the last opportunity he gets. Zipex is here. There's still 15 seconds. They have to go for this plant right now. RpK is all by himself after the plant as the FAMAS is going to take him out. karrigan got the headshot. I didn't quite catch that, but it looks like it was through the wall. and TQM just about by the skin of their teeth pick up another round.
So TQM bouncing right back into this. And we are going to be heading into another pause here as some of the players are having some lag issues here. Things pretty high for the members of TQM at the moment. And I was seeing earlier that Devi/Device, which, by the way, his name is actually Devi or Devve. It might actually be Devve, by the way. He has officially changed it now, so we do have to call him that. But he was complaining earlier on Twitter about like 40% choke or something crazy like that. So that's completely unplayable in my eyes. So more than likely, if that's a problem now, they're probably going to have to take a moment to fix that.
Oh yeah, man. 40 choke is game breaking. Not much you can do with that.
I don't even know how you can like move with 40 choke.
Indeed.
Like even
that
like
is rough.
15% choke just like makes me angry.
True that. Especially when you're playing for, as you said, a share of $50,000. You don't want any issues with your internet, any issues with your PC. You want to be playing as smooth as possible. And smooth as possible is definitely not the phrase that I'd use for how TQM have performed so far on their choice of map, Overpass. Next up is Train, that's Titan's choice. And the way they've been playing so far, they have been very impressive to me. Although, this round, they can buy up if they choose to go with Tech 9 Armors, maybe a couple of players. I'll be interested to see if they do go for this buy. Yes, they will. As CZ is picked up from RPK instead, alongside the AK. SmithZz will be able to get himself an AK as well. So it's still a relatively decent buy from Titan. And another chance to maybe take down the giants of TQM.
So Titan going to move their players once again for the most part, heading back over here towards A. However, they're going to hold it back to a certain degree because TQM have been aggressive, as we saw in the previous rounds here too. This time around, it's going to be dupreeh, but he's flashed out, so he has to fall back towards the site. He's still going to hold close up just outside of the bathrooms, but as they press towards it here, Existence gets himself into a duel. RPK, great on the correction for that, as he is able to take down dupreeh before he can take down Existence there. Existence, though, just barely survives that encounter with 9 HP. And this is going to cause a halt for the time being on Titan's remaining push towards that A site if they do decide to go for it still.
A lot of time to play, though, with Titan. A lot of time to kill for TQM. And this may force Devi to go a bit aggressive here, see what he can get done. If he can get maybe a couple of players in the back, that would be massive for TQM. Titan still playing this slow. They have the option of going through Connector, which TQM haven't really got into too many times so far, other than eco rounds. Very slow. Here come the smokes now. One on truck. There's another one as well. This is looking more and more likely like an A play, but the option is still available for Titan. They've got enough time. If they want, they can rotate through Connector and go to B. And that could be in the back of the TQM's mind. That being said, though, karrigan's left completely open. He's going to get picked off from the CZ. There was no covering fire from the left-hand side of the site from Devi, and he finally goes down. And another round where TQM could have potentially picked this up could just slip away.
And now it's going to be Existence holding off the flank for now, but thankfully the rest of Titan is no trouble cleaning up the main brunt of the force from TQM there. They shut down Zipnix, cajunb. He's not even attempting for the retake at this point. Thankfully he takes out Existence, so he should be able to save this rifle, but that's all he's going to be taking away from this round. As Titan are going to strike it back again here, and now they'll be at 12 rounds, which is getting into a bit of a dangerous position with TQM still being down by about 4.
Absolutely, yeah. And even the rounds where Titan have looked a bit sketchy. So have TQM, to be honest. I just don't think that they're performing 100% right now. Far from it. A bit worrying for them. This bomb is going to detonate. As you said, the 12-8 will be coming in. Although shox does end up dying. That's a bit awkward. It's not the end of the world, though, for Titan. They've got enough funds to replenish that weapon. But you can see their economy is not great. So they'd have liked to have held on to that AK-47.
And that's going to be all they'll have in this round. Unfortunately, Zipix will be the only other player that can afford a force up, so it's not going to be wise to really go for that kind of a play, as you'll just be on another save after that anyway. Just go for the full save now. If KJB can do anything with it, it's great. Save some money, let them get a bit more of a lead, and then basically try her all when Titan are going to be on that 13th round. So more than likely expect Titan to run over this one pretty casually, although we did see that one eco where TQM almost managed to clutch it. So it all depends on what happens here in these first few key moments of this round. If Existence gets trapped in water, that could lead to one thing, but not going to be possible. It looks like they're all grouping up now, so they should have a pretty strong grasp on that point.
Well, the issue right now for TQM, as far as I'm concerned, is that even on CT's side, they haven't really got the opening picks. It's constantly been Titan that got the first kill, first couple kills. And when the teams are fairly close like these two have been, that can be the determining factor as the anti-eco bash comes in. Still, that weapon remains on cajunb, who's one of the last two remaining CTs. And he has just been headshotted down from screen, which leaves Zipex by himself. He is behind the B site, but I think he's been caught, and he is going to get sprayed down. Titan take the 5-round lead. This could be one of the last chances that TQM will have at a decent buy-up. So they've got to make this work.
It's not even really going to be a decent buy-up, though. I mean, look at it. 3.6k sitting on Debbie before he goes for his buy. dupreeh's gone for a Mag 7 pickup. 2 to 5 players are sitting on FAMAS's, not even able to get M4s. The biggest thing they have is that op sitting on karrigan, and look at the utility. They've only got smokes and flashbangs. They don't have any HEs. They don't have any mollies to hold back aggressive pushes, so this is a very risky play from karrigan in itself. If he goes down early, they're going to lose probably their most powerful weapon.
Oh, they've gone for the push as well. They're going to line up. Scream isn't able to land either of those shots. But yeah, you're right, Blue. I think the worrying thing for me is that if TQM don't win this round, this is probably as good a buy-up as they're going to be able to get for the rest of this map. Because their economy is just so poor right now. So there's just so much importance put on this. Zipex is going to be using the close range with a Mag 7 on short, while cajunb watches his back on Monster. But that early confrontation hasn't really gone either side. Like, a bit of damage has been chipped away from TQM, but nothing too severe for them. The problem now is they only have 3 smokes and no defuse kits. They can't afford to let Titan get onto a site to start off with.
Zipex is like praying right now that they push short B, because that's the only real spot from his current position that he's going to be able to be useful with that kind of gun. Especially considering he doesn't have another pistol either, he just has that USP, but Titan still not deciding on where they want to take this. Scream finds an opener and a second one too. Takes out both the players sitting over towards long A. So it's going to be Devi and dupreeh that all go down, but it actually still looks like the play is going to be heading towards the B site. So he may get a chance to use this Mag 7 as of yet. There's karrigan picking up one with the op. He was able to rotate down in time. The play towards construction's looking very weak as most of the players moving in through Monster, but he may be able to pick something up. Has to fall back a little bit. Lining up a first shot onto existence. Hoping those players are pushed up to the pole by this point, but it's not going to be possible. karrigan lining up one. It's responded to by SmithZz, but then Zipex, I think he jumps up and grabs SmithZz with the shotgun, and now leaves it down to a 2 versus 1. It's just Scream trying to line it up, but it's not going to be possible. And cajunb will finish things off for TQM.
Yeah, that Mag 7 jump shot was huge. Mag 7 dream is real. He also transferred that across to the AWP, so TQM will be able to rummage together a buy. Again, it's not going to be great, but that's huge. I said before, the importance of that round was pretty much the difference between staying in this map and outright losing it. And they have just about managed to navigate their way through to the light. So, Titan go for the force, realizing that TQM's economy is still in a bad place. If they lose this, though, they'll probably be in a similar position themselves. CZ, Tech 9, and 3 AK-47s. And shox over on B by his lonesome. Maybe going to try and get rid of Zipex in water, but Zipex is up to the task with his M4. Maybe trying to sell that fake as well. It's not really paid off, though, for Titan, as they only have 2 players left alive, and the bomb has been dropped behind them in a bit of a precarious position. Debbie runs out with his knife and gets taken out from SmithZz. That's a pretty huge frag as well.
Now they've got control of this one. Unfortunately, there's still going to be a man down. Using most of their utility. The only thing they're going to have left to actually get themselves onto a site is those 2 smokes. Those 2 smokes, if they actually push this towards A, though, they can be very, very powerful. So this has to be perfectly aligned. But also keep in mind, too, that they are being flanked at this point by cajunb. Scream's keeping an eye out for that, but I'm not sure if they're going to be fully aware of something coming all the way around there. You can see Scream just look towards it, but karrigan already trying to pick up one shot there. Brings Scream down to 22 HP, and he's stopped completely. And he's just going to get decked to the floor by karrigan. And following that one up, they'll take down SmithZz too. TQM, the show-stopping performance now continues. And they're getting closer and closer to potentially tying up this match here against Titan, especially now that Titan are going to be working with a broken economy.
That's exactly it. karrigan's starting to wake up as well. He got 3 frags that round, 2 kills before that. He's been landing some really nice impact kills with the AWP alongside the M4. So he's one of those key members that you're looking to perform. Could be the difference maker here. Titan often do struggle to finish out maps as well, and I wonder if that's going to be in the back of their mind right here on this almost full-on eco. They've got 3 Glocks with only 2 P250s, so very, very poor arsenal to play with indeed. Over on this B side, he's pushing out of one step. This should be an absolute slaughter from TQM as cajunb is just tapping to his heart's content. There is the AWP as well from karrigan on the overwatch position in upper. 3 kills for him. Pardon me, 2 kills. It was cajunb that got the other kill. and the bomb's been dropped on the site. So that's pretty much lights out for Titan here in round 24.
And all this time, Scream's just been hoping somebody's going to try to rotate down for a flank. Hasn't been obliged at all, so he's left sitting awkwardly up at party with no one attending it. And it will be another round going up onto the board now for the guys on TQM. As Scream just walks around, honestly, not even really a merit in saving. Might as well just go and try to look for some kills, and if he gets a gun, then he can save. But TQM have definitely forged their path back into this game. We should be able to see another buy coming out from Titan on this next round. That's going to be a very key point. Because if TQM pick it up again, then they probably are going to have what they need to mount a lead. And as you were talking about before, too, in that last gun round, like last round, actually, or 2 rounds ago, it was absolutely the crucial point. If they had lost that one, then it basically would have been GG from that point forward. But they've managed to save it, and they're coming back into this game in a very, very big way now.
Absolutely, yeah. Titan, though, will be able to buy, and it's a strong buy as well, including an AWP that's going to be switched across from Scream to SmithZz. They can get grenades alongside that, 3 Molotovs in total. I'm very interested to see how that's going to be used here in this round. Meanwhile, cajunb, Devi I should say, up on long. A very aggressive push up mid into Fountain though. 2 players with good spawns, one of which was karrigan, and he is going to land the first shot, but SmithZz answers right back into the face of Devi. Zipex with an aggressive push through water, so instant action right off the bat, definitely favouring TQM. If they can keep this player advantage for just a few more seconds, they can then stabilize and pull themselves back onto the site, and Titan have a real tall order against them because, as I mentioned before, their grenades aren't fantastic. 2 smokes, Molotov, and a flashbang to execute onto a site with against 4 players. Not the easiest task.
Also, SmithZz alone at this point, too. If we could see dupreeh pushing forward enough here and actually take him down, then they've immediately lost control of the bomb there, but that's probably going to be fairly unlikely. The rest of TQM is preserving themselves in their current positions right now. I don't think they want to risk it simply because of how far spread out Titan is. They did this a lot on their CT side, and it caused the same sort of slowdown and very passive amount of players seeing right now from TQM. So more than likely, we're going to just see them stick to this. As you can see again, Titan just rounding down the clock right now, hoping somebody gets over aggressive, but probably not going to be the case. And they will have to decide on a site here within the next couple of seconds.
Yeah, you can see they're desperately just trying to get that opening pick, bring it back to even. Try and maybe catch TQM in transition as they rotate rapidly onto the other site. It's not happening. TQM way too disciplined. This is exactly what they need to do. But look at this. You've also got dupreeh coming up from behind. He is waiting, and he has picked himself up the frag. I think karrigan legged SmithZz just beforehand. Now dupreeh comes down connector, gets picked off. Only 17 seconds to play with, and 2 players on B. This is so hard now for Titan to get anything done. Zipex leads on frag, gets traded out. It's probably enough. No, RpK gets a second frag and takes it into a 1 versus 1.
He's going to be stuck here, though. He can't move away from this one right now.
He's got a smoke.
He's got the smoke, but he's got to use it properly. Karrigan surfing his way down there, waiting for RpK to peek, and RpK basically goes to the worst spot he could have gone out of that smoke there. Makes it an easy job for Karrigan. He's going to be able to clutch it out. And again, we have another round coming up on the board here for TQM. What a huge comeback these guys have worked against. And for Titan, are they even going to be able to buy this round? They could definitely force it if they wanted to, but they may just want to save it to try and take the lead back when they tie.
Yeah, I feel like Tech 9 Armor is probably the smart play here if they do want to get some weaponry. You can go for like a half buy. Yeah, so you're seeing some kind of half buys in. If you can get down to around $2,000, it allows you to get AKs with the full nades and everything next round. So it gives them a bit of power in this round, but not too much. They're not playing themselves out of this map. So for me, that's the correct decision. But I've got to say as well, from TQM, that last round just goes to show how sketchy they've been. That should have been a formality, and it went down to 1v1. So it's kind of been the story of this game so far. But they have somehow clawed their way back into this game, and on paper should take us to 13 each.
Pressing forward now. You can see dupreeh sitting just outside of that smoke. He wants to see if he can catch something, and it's already going to be karrigan that starts it off. That's back over in the A site itself. The rest of the members here of Titan just trying to push through something, but there's such a huge lineup against these players. Existence picking up a good headshot there. You can see Existence stuck inside. He's got the bomb too. It's going to be dupreeh that rounds in there, picking up 2 frags. They do lose Devi along the way, but it's just going to be shox now. He's stuck in a duel versus cajunb. cajunb easily able to take him down in that circumstance there. And we officially have tied it up now here. TQM and Titan locked in a battle. Currently both teams at 13 rounds.
Yep, but with full round loss bonus coming in and a patient previous round, Titan have got 2 AWPs in play on T side of Overpass. It's not something you see every day, but maybe just trying to shift things up, realizing that the approach they were trying to utilize before just wasn't paying out for them. Love that nade from Zipex, bouncing off the cardboard into the short tunnel. No one was home though from Titan, so it's not going to hit anybody. Because as we know, they've got the double off. dupreeh pushes in, gets the frag on his distance, and gets it completely clean as well. That is a steal for TQM, and a big frag on top of that. They take control of connector, but instantly decide to rotate onto the B site.
I was getting a bit worried there too because karrigan had moved away. He was there to support him and find the trade in the event he did go down, but thankfully he wins the 1v1 on his own anyway there. And as you're mentioning, dupreeh doesn't even take a hint of damage. shox, though, able to find a response to it. Catches cajunb, getting a little bit too over-aggressive back by Monster, so able to find an op shot on him through that angle. But still no real progress being made on getting any site control here. And especially if they head towards A now, it's going to get dangerous because we still TQM in those fairly aggressive positions. There's smoke setup still to come here from TQM, as you can see right now. They've used all of them, so if they can wait this out a few more seconds, they'll still be able to work with something. But Debbie getting aggressive, he's going to get shut down by SmithZz, and this does give them a little bit more room to work with now, thankfully.
Time to play with. Manpower to play with. They still got the utility that they've just thrown out as well. This is a big round for both teams. A lot rests on this. And dupreeh again is playing the close angle. Peekaboo just gets right up in the face of SmithZz. He couldn't react in time, but it is an even trade. As Scream's pushed onto the site, picks himself up the frag, and now it's all on karrigan. And he's gone off to retake the site with his never the best weapon to try and retake from a CT's perspective. And he gets put down with authority from Scream. Huge round. And although TQM can buy back up again, if they lose this round, they'll be trying to salvage this map with absolutely no weapons. This is colossal for Titan.
It's still going to be, as you mentioned before, though, that big full buy from TQM. This is their last attempt to stop it. Titan, it was a good plan to really go for the very light buy 2 rounds ago and then invest everything on that previous one, as that gave them the fuel they needed to take that lead back for them, although by a very, very small amount. And they're in a very fragile position here, too, because they're going to be facing an economy reset if they drop this one. So for both teams, this could potentially mean, at the very least, overtime for TQM, or just an outright match victory here for Titan if they are able to claim this round here.
They still got those double AWPs in play as well for Titan. karrigan with a nice little flick there, looking for a second as well. He won't be picking this up just yet. Scream decides better of it, just picks the bomb up and starts to move and relocate with the rest of his team. But that is huge for TQM to get the first frag. Allows them to now take more of a dominating position over mid and bathrooms. It looks like it could be a B fake here. They threw in the flashbang to try and keep 2 of these players interested while the bomb is still in connector. So really trying to just play mind games with TQM. And to be fair to TQM, they haven't really budged. They still got the same 2 players in long. They still pretty much kept the same positions.
TQM keeping their players down here. Keeping them together, too. As both karrigan and cajunb are going to hope that if they do get pressured, they're going to be able to hold things off together here and use this to be able to knock down the remaining members of Titan as they try to press their way in towards this site. But they're starting to realize what's going on, so they're going to get some assistance from dupreeh here. He's now rotated down from the A site. Potentially we will have Debbie coming in on the flank here in a minute, but it's a 2-for-2 trade to start it off. Xyp9x and Cajun picking up the first 2 there, but Scream and shox having 2 of their own to respond to find their way into the site. Good flash is thrown in up from heaven there. And again, we still have dupreeh sitting at pit here, but there's Debbie now coming in on that flank, and him and dupreeh to shut it down. TQM with a great response to Titan's round pickup. Now, as we were talking about before, we're just going to cause another economy reset for the Ts. The TQM have managed to save their own.
It's typically the mark of a great team, whether it be esports or sports in general, that when they're not playing 100% can still grind out results. And TQM, for the majority of this map, I'm sure they'll be the first to admit this, have not played well. And yet they're at 14-14 with Titan on an eco and could potentially take their choice of map Overpass. This has been a lot closer than I was expecting, and TQM had some really poor rounds. So let's see if they can convert this now. Titan should be bunching together with these P250s and the Deagle. A lot less than shox, but he has landed some crazy 1-Deag so far in this map. So he's definitely the player to watch out for here. For me, he's the key. He's the ticket for Titan to break TQM down once more. RPK is going in first, though. You are going to have Debbie, who's on the close angle with the 2 frags. He's looking for a third one, switches QSP, has more bullets in the chamber. He's landed 3 kills all by himself. Now dupreeh is just going to come in and clean up. Scream has the M4, but no Kevlar to back it up. He's actually used that P250 instead. Does dink dupreeh down to 12, but just turns tail and runs away to connector and waits for the rest of his team to arrive. They've got TQM done enough.
They've got him boxed in here too, so he's basically has no route to retreat unless he goes back down towards long, in which case he's essentially reset himself anyways. And in a minute here, dupreeh is going to be in a position to spot him. So Scream's basically screwed no matter where he goes. And he's going to have to very least win a battle. With 15 HP, hopes are not looking good. The goal at this point, I imagine, is to do as much damage as humanly possible with that M4, or try to save it with 30 seconds left on the clock. Another very evil thing TQM could do here too is if they know they have him boxed in, they could just wait out the time and take him down after that to completely break him and guarantee the 16th round pickup instead of going into OT.
Exactly. That's exactly it. I think it's exactly what they're setting up for right now. And Scream knows it. Very intelligent player. So he has to get a move on now. He's hoping that they make a mistake at first. He wanted to die before time because of the exact reasons that you called. At least give themselves as good a chance as possible to equalise us and take us to overtime here. Their economy isn't great, but it is going to afford them some weapons in the sense of AKs and an AWP. The problem is, though, they are lacking a tiny bit on grenades. So those 3 smokes are going to have to be perfectly placed from Titan if they want to pick this up. Everything rests on this. SmithZz doesn't even have Kevlar, it's important to mention as well, so he could be very vulnerable here. That grenade is going to land. Oh my goodness, a monster as well. cajunb is on Toxic Barrels by himself. He's been picked off from shox. Is it doable? Is it real? Titan could potentially take us to 15-15. They've got the bomb, and it hasn't quite got onto the site just yet. That's the other problem. They're all stuck in pit. So those grenades are going to start to rain down. Screams down as well.
These mollies.
Kill SmithZz, who didn't have the Kevlar, and meanwhile dupreeh's making a move from behind.
Existence is going to hope to hold water here and maybe catch somebody. He just got signaled. There is going to be a player inside of Connector. He hasn't spotted him just as yet. Scream's doing work on the site. He takes down dupreeh, but now he's at 12 HP, so he's got to be careful. Titan, they're trying to find their way onto this site, but they don't even know if they want to go for B as of yet. They've moved the bomb back outside of Monster once again. And Existence still having this duel. Sitting back over here, but he works out. Patience is a virtue now as Existence shuts down karrigan. There's a free op sitting on the ground. They brought this into a 4 versus 2. And now they can just wrap right back up through Connector. Keep in mind, all this time RPK has been holding inside underneath the tracks too. So they still have partial control of that B site, and they're holding the attention of TQM. Well, all the while, they could be investigating options on A, but with the time getting lower and lower, it looks like they're just considering just going into the B side anyway, since they have the 4-on-2 advantage. But with shox and Scream being as low as they are, that could be very, very dangerous if they're taken down. And that's exactly what's going to happen initially. Xyp9x is able to find Scream, takes him down, looking for another one over here, but he's been found out. That doesn't matter, though. He lines up the headshot onto Existence. There's RPK with another alignment. Now Xyp9x trying to clutch it out, but no, it's going to be shox that just barely saves it with 6 HP. And we'll be going into overtime on map number 1.
It's nuts to think that Titan got into the pit through Monster nearly at the start of the round and didn't pull the trigger until nearly time was up. That's such patience, and it nearly backfired them because TQM are just so individually talented, but we have hit the 15-15. What a fantastic map that we're witnessing here, and it's too close to call for me, Blue. I have no idea which TQM's going to show. Is it going to be the one that had the dominating sort of 5-6 rounds in a row, or is it going to be the tenacity of Titan that shines through in this overtime?
I think one thing we saw from Titan, crucially, is at the beginning of that T-half, I noticed Scream was struggling a little bit more to pick up kills, but he corrected this by the end of the half. So if we start from the very beginning of overtime here, Scream, again, still going to be a little bit more refreshed on that T side and is still going to be ready to pick up some more kills, which he was doing a lot better towards the end of the half when you compare it to the beginning. On the CT side, he was an absolute force to be reckoned with, so they're really going to have to watch out for players like him, not just this too, but you touched on it at the end, I should say, of the last half, at SmithZz with that op, which is going absolutely crazy. And that absolutely is going to continue in overtime with the players having the money they'll have access to.
Very true, yeah. We'll be able to get those consistent AWPs out. As we just wait for the action to resume. SmithZz 28 for 19. dupreeh top fragging. What's surprising there is to see Devi at the bottom with 14 for 24. We'd expect him to be much higher on the scoreboard than that.
I don't know about this. I don't know about this new player, man. I like Device a lot better.
Get Device back.
Who is this Devi player?
I suppose the good news for TQM, though, is if Devi does wake up, then they have another power player to come in, like to basically sub in, if you will, and just start to take over the map. So I suppose like in terms of raw potential, TQM probably should have this overtime, but the way the Titan have been playing, their entry fragging in particular has been really impressive to me. Even on CT side, they're getting most of the opening picks as well. So that's going to have to change in overtime for TQM if they want to keep in this map. And remember, we'll be going through to Train next, which is Titan's choice. You
talked about, or you mentioned this back in the EnVyUs game too, about how they recently brought in a new coach. But isn't I just actually noticed this now since we have the scoreboard up. But Zonic recently joined up with TQM, correct? Like this was like a week ago, if I remember correctly.
I believe so, yeah.
So that's another factor coming in here as well, is that they actually do have that coach helping them out. He was brought over from, I think it was that MTW roster that there was like a lot of hype around for like a month, and then he just joined TQM anyway, and I think it killed all that hype.
Well, these are the kind of moments where your coach really, you know, has to carry their weight. And these kind of moments, like 16k, when so much is on the line, it's going to be a huge body blow to whoever loses this map, like psychologically speaking. So this is where Zonic needs to step up, right, and give some good advice to TQM, because they were shabby for a lot of the first, I don't know, say 60% of this game. Either way, they're starting off on the CT side. 21 rounds will be the magic number. Let's see who's going to get there first.
So to start it off, you see the members, and no surprise at all, he's going to be picking up the op on the T side. Play things back over here towards long. He's carrying the bomb too, but TQM way more aggressive than we saw really at any point at all in their previous CT half and regulation time. Every single player has pushed outside of the A site now and is trying to challenge things back over towards short A, with Devi sitting himself back over here inside of the long and short connector. But so far, unfortunately, everything going by the way of Titan, as RpK is going to be able to pick up that first kill, and this smoke from Devi completely misplaced, and it gives Scream a very easy first kill. But there's karrigan lining up a good response op shot, so giving them at least one kill to work with here, but they've got to try to grind their way back into this one now, as they've started out with a heavy disadvantage.
They certainly have, but karrigan's still alive, and he was, although his stats don't necessarily speak too highly, he was the monster towards the end of regulation time for TQM with that AWP. So expect more great things from him. The smoke's coming out. Zipex is there though on the truck, has to pull himself back as a flashbang lands in his face, but somehow relocates to get to the first frag in this confrontation, giving TQM the player advantage as cajunb also goes in, but here comes Existence. It's down to cajunb, who previously got the frags. They know he's over on the B side, which allows them to just go for the outright plant. And now cajunb, can he pull off a sick 1v2 clutch? There's the first piece of the puzzle, I should say, put in place from him. Now, Existence has to somehow hold on to this. The bomb has been tickled, and he will pick up that frag onto cajunb as he goes looking into bathroom, and Titan just about secure the first round of overtime.
The ostrich strategy works for Existence as he puts his head down in the dirt there. Never even looked towards him, to be completely honest, so I didn't even really need to do that, but thankfully it plays off anyway, as it allows Titan to win the 1 versus 1, pick up the first overtime round. And TQM2 immediately going to go for the big reinvestment here. So you can see everybody going for the big rebuys. For Titan, of course, no trouble going for their own, but Titan have started it off strong, and as we were talking about before, the players are all warmed up. They're already used to this side. It was a bit rusty at the beginning of it for players like Scream and whatnot, but not showcasing that problem anymore. And for QuestionMark, the pressure continues to roll onto these players. Going back to a little bit more of a passive setup towards the A site. Still sending some players into bathrooms and a little bit further out towards long, but they're not going to do like the full 3-player commitment like they did in the last round.
Will be another thing in the back of TQM's mind as well on that T side. They didn't get too many rifle rounds. A lot of their rounds that came at them was just whittling away in rifle rounds and then actually anti-ecoing on Titan. But SmithZz with 2 opening picks is monumental for Titan. That opens up A nicely, and a third kill comes in as Devi tries to play the mind games and stacks a third player up there. cajunb has answered back on the B site, but shox could just take him out, and there we go. TQM again are struggling so much. It's a 4-on-1, and that bomb still hasn't pushed onto the A site. Seemingly realizing his Zipex last play is probably over there, and now that has been confirmed as he lands the frag on Scream. He has a 6th sense though. It's tingling, telling him to go to the B site. That's the correct decision. Did he just catch a glimpse of the foot of shox? He may very well done so through the smoke, and picks him up as well. This would be such a ridiculous clutch if Zipex pulls this off.
Zipex has like so much utility to work with here too. Like he's still got an HE, he's got a flash, and he's got a molly. So he can force the player that's planting outside of his position. He's going to use the HE now. It's going to be a little off the mark, unfortunately, so not going to connect too much damage. And Existence, they now know he's there too. But this molly, oh, okay, never mind. I was about to say that molly I was hoping would do something, as it could have forced the player that was planting out of the position. He could have killed him and brought him into 1 versus 1 and then used the flash to clutch it. But we did see SmithZz just shutting him down before any of that could happen. And Titan are now going to be up 2 rounds here. I should note, I actually just noticed this myself as I wasn't paying attention to it, nor were we informed before the match started. This is actually MR5, not MR3, so it's gonna be a little bit longer of an overtime than we're usually used to.
Indeed. Normally you're looking for the 19th round, but now we're looking for the 21st.
Yep.
So even though TQM do start obviously 2 rounds behind, they can still pull this back. If this is normal overtime, you'd be like wincing a tiny bit for them, but they can still bring it back. 16k they started with as well. That's the reason they can consistently buy these weapons. Here we go. Can SmithZz get more frags on long? He does tag up Devi. He's down to 38 now. I think that's partially through the sign, maybe in his legs. So he does live to fight another day, but he is low. Speaking of low, RpK's been dropped to 2 HP. Somehow scampering away. CS gods were with him today. But no one's fallen down early on in this round, so all 10 players still alive and kicking.
And for TQM, they've put a lot of their assets back down onto towards that B site. They're going to be keeping 2 committed here towards A. And really only 1 fully fleshed out, and that's going to be dupreeh. And he's in a very risky spot, too. He's thankfully got a little bit of a smoke to support him here, but take a look at how close he's playing this now to these players over here from Titan. They don't even realize it, but he's flashed, and there's a bit of an awkward exchange. But thankfully for himself, he comes out on top of that one, shutting out existence. No other combat happening as if he's going to throw that molly in dupreeh. What is he doing right now? Moves in, finds a second kill. shox does get the response against him, but this is all going to end up being evenly traded at the end of the day, leaving us down to a 3 versus 3. However, RpK heavily injured. He's going to have to be careful of this one. They work their way onto the site, but they don't realize cajunb is sitting up here right now. He's going to win 2 kills, and then karrigan finishes off the final one to give TQM their first pickup here on overtime.
The beast plays real. But still, Titan are going to come right back into this. I was curious if we were going to see another double AWP setup come to play. That's not the case. They just go for the 1 AWP this time on SmithZz. How's his spawn looking? Actually had a good spawn to maybe peek up Fountain all long again, but instead decides that Monster is the place where he wants to peek out onto. There is a smoke down. There's going to be a fast push right now. That Molotov does connect, but the spray down from cajunb and xyp9x is enough to retort onto Titan, and they instantly have to wrap themselves through connector instead, but that's going to be into the embracing arms of dupreeh, who is waiting, and they must know this. So for now, they're going to go for the boost, see if they can get some picks on the site. Existence has spotted himself a player. Is he going to get any more from this? No, he drops down. dupreeh is still playing this patiently. He's not going to go in and give his life away needlessly, because then that opens up the A play. So intelligent from him, and still Titan have a lot of work to do to get themselves back into this round.
Sorry about stuck on the smoke there, guys. That's a bug that's been in the game forever. I was on that one for a little bit too long, but SmithZz now, as he works his way back in, as we get to the good stuff here, going to be able to shut down cajunb. Thankfully, we see dupreeh coming in there, very swift on the response to that. Shuts him back out, and dupreeh very quickly moving away from it, trying to line up an even bigger flank now. But time is running a bit low, so they will have to be careful of this. Thankfully, xyp9x, he's got full control of the bomb, so the final 2 from Titan have a lot of work to do if they want to have any chance of picking up this round at all.
Oh, SmithZz! Jeez, that flick was beautiful. But xyp9x is there. If Existence gets that frag, things just flip on their head for TQM. xyp9x on 21 has been spotted from SmithZz, but he's still a bit worried in case someone's in connector. That's not the case. Down to his left-hand side. He is still going to get onto that bomb, though. Is he just going to rush straight to A? That seems to be the case. He could even fake this and just wait for the 2 CTs, but instead, he's rushing to the A plant, and he will get this planted. Now, what did TQM do about that? They both force through together. They have a smoke and a Molotov, so if you go fast forward 10-20 seconds, if they feel he's gone to bathroom, they can throw the smoke in there or potentially Molotov it. Instead, SmithZz has gone into bank.
They didn't hear him either. He jumped. They should have been able to hear that, but I don't think they do. They're throwing the molly into bank now. xyp9x is keeping an eye out for it, so I think they suspect it, but there's another great shot from SmithZz. But they don't realize he's fully defused it by the time he gets that first kill. So SmithZz, unfortunately, not going to be able to grab it. And that's going to tie it up again now at 17 rounds in the final round of the first half of first overtime. That was a very long sentence.
Well, it's been a very long map so far, but I've been enjoying every second of it. And I kind of feel sorry for SmithZz there. He banked on, you know, the 50-50 coin toss that the second player would come off the bomb and try and challenge him. Wasn't the case. Held on to his nerve, just stuck on the site, and brings us to 17-17. karrigan with the AWP again. Aggressive plays and gets rewarded, although his teammate very nearly jumped into that shot, which would have been super awkward. But he does get the kill nonetheless.
Good intel coming out there too from the player. As you mentioned, the teammate that was sitting like right below him. Times that perfectly with communication. So, Debbie picking up another one for the CTs. Seems like TQM probably just going to shut this one down by the way it's going so far. Perfectly aware of exactly where Titan are pushing. The molly to stop these players moving outside of connector. There's cajunb shutting down one outside of monster. There is a response to this one as Existence pushes back in towards construction, but xyp9x is here now to challenge him if he tries to get any further. These final 2 are going to have to push up against 4 from TQM. Still with very little intel as to where exactly these players might be placed.
Yeah, and karrigan on point for his second frag of the rounds. Leaves xyp9x with the easy spray down, and TQM somehow, some way, do get through into that first half with a round lead. And after they went 2-0 behind blue, I was getting a bit worried for them, but they salvage it.
And now we're going to switch the sides here too, but this is honestly looking a lot better for Titan than it is for TQM, because TQM struggled so much on that T side.
They did, yep.
So, and Titan was just looking like an absolutely dominating force. They looked a lot more confident, too, on their CT side. So, we could probably see Titan bounce back and take a pretty hefty lead from that point forward.
Because what TQM got 6 rounds on their T side, which doesn't sound too bad, but we need to keep into consideration is at one point it was 7-2 to Titan. And off the back of a crazy eco round from TQM, and then subsequently breaking the economy of Titan the next time, they managed to get themselves 6 rounds. So 9-6 isn't necessarily a fair representation of how poor their T-half was. That's why that's kind of what I said before when I was mentioning that now that Titan will have full weapons pretty much every round's a rifle round. This is where TQM struggled so much on their T-half in regulation time, so I'm a bit worried.
And we're going to get started with that second half in a moment. Just waiting for the players to ready up, and then we'll immediately jump into it as they're readying up right now. But keep in mind, of course, this is only map 1 in a 3-map set. So if TQM on their map choice are pushing it this close, then it could be trouble on map number 2 for Train, especially because TQM have had an interesting record on Train recently. It's been fairly up and down, so Titan have taken a bit of risk on that one too, but if they end up getting the advantage in that, TQM are going to be on the lesser side. Their advantage for Train here, then they might just end up being able to take it. If assuming they take this map, that is, they might just be able to take the second map too, and swiftly make this a 2-0.
As you say, it really is anybody's game right now. 18-7, of course, gives a slight advantage to TQM, but they're on definitely the worst of the sides here on the T side. Curious to see if we'd see a double up setup coming for Titan on their CT side. That's not the case. It's going to be SmithZz, and he is currently occupied in bathroom, as you can see, peering up towards mid. And so far, so good as far as Titan are concerned. Haven't lost any players. They haven't got too much information, but that's okay. As you can see right now, the bomb is dropped towards the T spawns. The TQM aren't too interested in getting that bomb down anytime soon. And pretty much a split push. And typically the way TQM were approaching their rounds of regulation time is if they lost a player on A, they instantly went to B. And they did that 4 or 5 times in a row. I feel like Titan may very well be able to predict that if it happens again.
SmithZz could potentially find himself, if we do see this play shifting back over towards short A, SmithZz could potentially find himself in a bit of a rough spot, especially with the limited view angle he's giving himself right now. But even he's, I think, sort of realized this to a certain degree, so he's going to give himself a little bit more cover to work with, but I don't think he's going to have to deal with that much pressure anyway. It looks like TQM, for the most part, committed themselves to going back down over here and towards that B site. Scream putting very up close right now. The smoke start to roll in. The players move in on this one too. And we can see Devi's going to try to line up for that flank. The first 2 kills go by the way of Titan, but there is a good response that comes in from cajunb. Now more starting to push in. karrigan finding an additional pickup onto existence. A lot of players in the pit. Xyp9x finds one of them, but shox quick on the response. Back down to a 2 versus 2, but these remaining Titan players can't see anything. Not just this too, but SmithZz has just arrived back in heaven. Still that smoke obscuring all of their vision. The volley's going to come back down, hopefully giving room for shox to press forward. But this is going to be such a hard retake to make now, especially because TQM have done a fantastic job of obscuring themselves. There's the first pickup from cajunb, and now it's just SmithZz, and he's stuck in pit either. He has to commit to this. It's not even like he can retreat.
Yeah, whatever happens there, it's like heads you win, tails I lose territory. They desperately wanted a smoke in that 2v2. They have the smoke and they smoke short. A lot of things open up for them, but they only did a Molotov and a flashbang. Very, very rough indeed, but TQM have picked it up with that all-out execute. I thought RpK nearly had the perfect position to hold off that push. He was behind the pillar, and all the mollies, all the flashes were missing him. He did get 1 kill, but traded out straight afterwards from TQM, so very good cohesion on that B execute from them.
Moving very swiftly back over here towards the fountain this time. 2 from TQM pushing into that. A couple more playing around with the tunnels. But existence as well has smoked this one back off and is hoping to line up something there. If cajunb fires a shot, he may have something for himself, but he's able to see through it anyway. Shuts down cajunb completely through the smoke. And now dupreeh's going to push up looking for a trade. He may catch him too with that flash. A little bit too late. dupreeh is able to take him back down. And that will even things out after they found a very nice kill earlier onto their hopper.
Well, SmithZz is still alive, and when he's alive on 36 kills, anything's possible right now for Titan, but they need to keep him alive. And he has seemed to have a very good read of the game today so far on Overpass. He's been rotating at the perfect times. He's still in bathroom, but he has the option to pull back onto A, or maybe even go into connector if he's feeling strong enough right now, confident enough in his own ability. But as we can see, TQM, again, maybe occupying just outside of B with the intent of pushing straight through him, but there's 2 players at close range. Make that 3 now as shox is there. And that's a beautiful reaction Headshot from Scream. The second comes in as well. The individual talent of this guy is off the charts. How quickly he just flicked his head there. So stay away from the flashbang and sprays down those two players. Massive for Titan. And does drag them into the 18th round.
In case anyone's wondering how he managed to get that shot through the smoke, more than likely the GoTV smoke was not exactly aligned with the actual in-game smoke, and he'd think he had a one-way smoke for himself there, so he did have a small gap to see through that. So he didn't exactly, you know, have ninja senses and see him, from what our point of view, appeared to be completely blind. He probably had a little bit of a gap.
Yeah, plus as well, when that flashbang comes in, there's a pretty strong chance that they're going to push Monster straight after it. So it was kind of like a pure reaction play there, just reading the game perfectly. The Titan have held on to their first CT round of overtime. Here comes SmithZz again. First frag goes down. Good reactionary flashbang, though, to counteract that initial charge. So he can't go for that repeat. And now the push is coming in. karrigan is going to pick up the first frag. SmithZz is caught at no man's land. He's not sure if to go or stay. He's in the smoke, but someone probably ran into him trying to plant that bomb. And now it's on shox. He's got one frag, but gets traded out. Now RpK steps up to the plate. All chaos has just erupted here. In about 20 seconds, 6 players have fallen down. dupreeh is still alive with Devi. Can they get it done here? RpK goes to the repeat. He gets put down. And now it's on Scream. We know he's capable of these clutches. The bomb's in a precarious position, and he's going to push the smoke. He catches Devi from behind. He spots dupreeh's on 28 HP. Can dupreeh pull this off? Can he land a sick headshot? Scream is still looking for him as well. But remember, the time itself is ticking against dupreeh. Now it's effectively a 2 versus 1. Scream goes for the spray through the smoke, not able to get the frag. But now what does dupreeh do? He hasn't got the bomb.
I think he's just realized this too, so he's trying to throw the illusion out that he's fallen back a little bit, and Scream pops out, but it's going to be dupreeh that clutches it out, taking down Scream, catching him unaware, and that smoke worked out perfectly for dupreeh. Did exactly what he wanted it to, and now that's given TQM one more round away from being able to close things out here.
This would be crushing for Titan to get so close on TQM's choice of map in the semi-finals of the Red Dot Invitational. $50,000 up for grabs. They have performed admirably. Even if they lose from this point, it has been one hell of a performance from both teams. And there's the main man, SmithZz. shox isn't done with his map just yet, but he will find himself one player short as Screams is picked up onto Toxic. SmithZz from behind, and RpK as well, keeping their teams alive here. Devi's the last remaining player. He's spotted a couple of players, does do significant damage, but he is picked off. So Titan, 1 round shy of taking us into double overtime.
We'll see if that'll be the case here too. TQM, no problems at all in going for their big investment here either. Titan, again, same story for them. They just won the round, so they're just going to go right back at it here. That was a crazy play from Titan, but I mean, credit where credit is due. Unfortunately for TQM, they really weren't doing a good job of watching their flanks and whatnot, so we see that one shot from SmithZz. He literally just walks outside of connector, walks into water. There's a player sitting right in front, doesn't even realize it, and SmithZz takes like all the time in the world to take that back shot there. However, TQM, they don't want to go into that double overtime. They want to stop it right now, right here. And karrigan, he's going to pick up the first kill of the round now as he shuts down shox. Try and get one more kill closer to being that.
Key frag as well. shox has been stepping up big on B. Went for the peak with the AWP, got picked off. Almost draws out a third player. You can see that Existence was thinking about this, thinking about going for an aggressive play to counteract potential B push. Thinks better of it, and now going to go the long way around the back towards up. This does leave A bit vulnerable, but again, Team QuestionMark, happy enough to just sit back. Happy enough to just wait this one out. They have executed on site a couple of times. Scream goes down. How does he get that frag onto dupreeh? dupreeh had the drop on him. No right to do so. Spray through. Oh my goodness. The spray onto short through the wall from Zipex lands onto Scream, who is already long. Already low.
That's a good reaction to it, too, as that finds a very nice trade. So now TQM, they still have very good control of this matchup here. RpK is going to be holding up close. Doesn't even see Zipex crouching below his crosshair there. Shuts him down. 2 left alive from the CT side. Existence doesn't even know what hit him. Zipex gets the clothesline, shuts him out. And it's just SmithZz now in a 1 versus 4. He's smoked. Can't see anything. He has to attempt it, but the odds are so much against him. There's like a -% chance of clutching this out. Gets dinked through a lot of coverage, so it's barely going to do any damage to him, but they know exactly where he is. Missing the connection back over here now. He's going to get it on the second attempt, but there's nothing for him to do. He's just going to walk into this site and die.
Gotta feel sorry for SmithZz. He performed like an absolute beast in this game. Dropped a 40 bomb, but it's not enough. His team are going to lose this map. and we'll be trailing 1-0 as we progress through onto train. Admiral will try at the end there, did pick himself up a couple of frags, but 21-19 is how the first map ends, and Team QuestionMark just about pick up their choice of map.
Barely though, just barely. Titan, if they had a stronger CT side, we could have been looking at that ending very easily in regulation time. But unfortunately for them, TQM was able to bounce back very nicely on their T side, make it much closer. And then Titan themselves took, kind of similar to TQM to be completely honest, took quite a bit of time to sort of warm themselves up on that T side and actually bounce back and tie that up eventually to take us into OT. So close, so many times, so many rounds that Titan almost were able to scavenge, but TQM are going to be able to pick things up, and that will take us on to map number 2, which is going to be Train. And it should be coming up in just a few moments. Anything else you want to say before we go to a quick break?
Well, more of the same, please. That was sick.
Yeah. All right, guys. So map number 2 here between Titan and Team QuestionMark is coming up in just a few moments. This is the semifinals of the Red Dot Invitational. Stick around.